welcome back to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. I'm Lydia, your host and a wedding photographer at Lydia Rachel Photography. On today's episode, I have a beautiful chat with Maia. She got married at Woodlands Estate in the Waikato, and you may know her from being a co-host on the amazing Girls That Invest podcast, and also online at Wellbeing with Maia. We chat through her beautiful love story and proposal, how they met after she served him a burrito. It's a great story. Deciding to have a smaller wedding and focusing their budget into saving for their honeymoon. The stresses that can come with wedding planning and other things going on in your life at the same time, and why that was a really hectic year for her that left her a little bit burnt out. We chat through all the special moments from their day, prioritizing quality time with their guests and just the two of them, combining their two different cultures and bringing their whānau together. We chat budget, how much money they spent. This one will definitely surprise you. She has some incredible advice and tips, and yeah, you're going to get a lot out of this one. So let's get right into it. Enjoy episode 86 with Maia. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. So excited to chat all about your wedding.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yay, so good. So to get started with, if you could just tell me a bit about you and your partner, how you guys met and your life together.
So, he urio no tū wharetoa, ngai te rangi ngā tika hungunu me tainui hoki, ko Maia Svadlenak-Gardiner ahau. So I just listed my iwi affiliations, tū wharetoa, ngai te rangi ngā tika hungunu and tainui. Yeah, my name's Maia Svadlenak-Gardiner. And my husband and I have been together for just going on 6 years now. Oh, no, just going on 6 years in April.
And how did you guys meet?
I really love how we met. My husband and I met, he came and bought a burrito off me. I was working at the mall at a Mexican place and he bought a burrito. It was one of those places where you make the food as you go along. And so we started chatting, making his burrito, and I was like, oh, he's really cute. And he was talking Māori to me, and that really got my attention, and I was like, oh, okay. But working in hospo and customer service, I was like, oh, I'm never going to see you again. Little did I know that he would keep coming back. So he came back the following week and the week after that. And every time we would chat, talking down the conveyor belt, and he tried to ask me out, and I didn't get it at all. He asked me what I was doing. It was a Friday evening, and I told him I was going home to read my book, and he was like, okay, cool. So I guess we're not hanging out this evening. But then the following week, he came back, specifically asked to hang out with me, and I was like, okay, cool, got it. And then we went on our first date, I think a week later. And then we went out to have some parakuihi, have some breakfast together, and we just really hit it off. And then so we decided to go to the beach. Our first date ended up being 24 hours together, which was looking back, it was just the sweetest day. We had breakfast and then went out to Whaingaroa, went out to Raglan, which is one of our favourite places to go. We went for a walk on the beach, Wainui Beach, which is also holds a special place in our heart. It's where Julian proposed. It's where we had our first kiss and held hands as we walked on the beach on our first day. It was all just super sweet, and we were just I did not expect to get along so well and to essentially spend the entire day together. I had a dress up party that evening, and so he was like, cool, I can help you make your costume for, I'm not sure if you watch Adventure Time. I decided to go as Lumpy Space Princess. She's literally a purple cloud with like a whole bunch of attitude. And I was like, yeah, no, this is perfect. I'm going to go as Lumpy Space Princess. So he was like, okay. We found me some cardboard and some paint to make my costume. And we actually ran into my sister and her friend at the shop. And she invited Julian to the party because at that point I hadn't invited him. And I was like, oh, okay. And so he ended up coming to the party. I was Lumpy Space Princess. Which, like, looking back, I I didn't stop to think and maybe like, oh, maybe I could go as something like a little bit cuter than a cardboard cutout of literally a purple cloud. But I just stayed true to my weird authentic self. I mean, it worked. We're happily married. Yeah, so it was quite a whirlwind. I don't think either of us expected to spend the rest of the day together as our first day, and then we've pretty much just been together ever since. That was 6 years ago. 6 years ago in April.
Crazy. Oh, that is such a
Yeah.
cool story. Honestly, like a movie. Little meet cute making the burrito and then yeah, full adventure. So cool.
I'm still trying to convince Julian to get like for us to get like matching burrito tattoos or something like that.
Yes.
And he was like, I don't really want a burrito tattooed on me, but we'll see.
Oh, so good. And so you were together for a while and got engaged. Can you tell us a bit about the proposal story?
Like I mentioned, Julian proposed at Wainui Beach in Whangarua, where we had our first date. It was actually I I knew the year that he was going to propose because we had to apply for the ring that I wanted. So I found out about this wahine Māori woman jeweler through listening to another podcast, Nuku podcast, and this jeweler, Courtney Marama, she makes the most beautiful pounamu bespoke jewellery, so whakakai earrings and like engagement special rings. And that actually is what kind of sparked Julian and I's conversation of like marriage, because neither of us really, we always wanted to spend our life with someone, but I never fantasized about my wedding or like anything like that. So that kind of got us talking about marriage and in that kind of way. And so Courtney Marama, with her bespoke, the way that she runs her Pākehī, her business, she opens up once a year for applications and then for the following year. And so we had to apply and we fortunately got selected. So I knew at some point in that year that Julian was going to propose. And I really love surprises. And because I knew that he was going to propose, that I was like, don't tell me anything. I want to be completely surprised. Yeah, I love surprises. And I really was. I had no idea. It was actually quite funny. It was just a random Friday evening. We went to Whangarua, went to Raglan, as we do often. We fortunately live only like 30 minutes away from the beach. And I was in the randomest clothes. Like the photos are quite funny. But I had no idea. I thought we were just gonna go out and get some kai. On the drive there, I actually said to Julian, I was like, oh, I saw Courtney Marama's Instagram story, and I'm pretty sure I saw my ring, and so that means like it'll probably get sent out next week, and that means you'll probably have my ring in like a week or two. And like little did I know, it was literally in his pocket. He was like, okay, all right. So we, yeah, just went out for a walk on the beach. I actually didn't feel like going for a walk on the beach. Julian had to convince me, and I'm so glad that he did. It was just the most peaceful and like picturesque sunset. The beach was like really quite deserted. There was only us and maybe one or two other people, and it was just the most beautiful sunset. The sky was blue and purple, and then it like changed to orange and red, and we were just, yeah, walking along the beach, being all sweet. And I remember we were like playing around, and he was like spinning me around, and then yeah, we were just like spinning each other around, looking into each other's eyes, and then I like felt him reach into his pocket, and I was like that. I think a second before he proposed, I was like, oh my God, like he's proposing. And I was so surprised. I don't know, I just thought that I would kind of know, and I had no idea. And it was just so sweet, so relaxed, and just like really fitting for the people that we are, in a like a special place for us, nice and relaxed. And then afterwards we got our favorite kai, Japanese food in Whangaroa. And then at the time we were living with his parents, and we came home and celebrated with them. And then the next day I was traveling down to see my whānau, who live about 3 hours away, which wasn't planned at all, but just coincided really nicely. So it was a, yeah, perfect way for the proposal to go, and it was just like super low key and very much us.
So cool. Amazing that he got the surprise factor there. And
Yes.
honestly, the movie continues. What a cool story.
Yeah.
So good. So you kind of mentioned that you'd not really like thought about getting married or a wedding specifically. Had you, I guess, since you'd started making the ring, sort of thought about that a bit more? Did you have a kind of vision in mind for what you wanted? And yeah, what were those kind of first steps with wedding planning?
Definitely, we had quite a bit of conversations, because Julian was the same. He was like, I'm happy to get married. I also don't need to get married. And we were both kind of figuring that out together, because we were both like, we want to spend the rest of our lives together. And then I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I want a wedding. It'll be fun. And then I saw Courtney Marama ring, and I was like, yeah, beautiful, sweet. Let's get married, hun. And he was like, sweet, let's get married. So that's kind of how it started. And then in terms of like a vision, when Julian proposed and like started to plan for the wedding, um it was really, we wanted it to be quite like natural and relaxed, and like natural kind of colorings. I love green and like sage green, and so sage green, olive green, really like earthy tones, terracotta, natural browns and beiges and things like that. So that kind of rustic olive natural style, which is like quite common with weddings and things like that, and we wanted it to be outside. So yeah, just kind of having that. I'm a little hippie at heart as well, so that natural kind of bohemian sense was how things kind of started.
Beautiful. And did you kind of look at a few venues? Did you have a location in mind where you wanted to get married?
Yes, we wanted to get married in Whangaroa in Raglan. That's like our place. That's where we got proposed, had our first date. But unfortunately at the time there weren't any venues that were fitting for us. They were either too big or too small. And the the venue that I really wanted, it was overlooking the water, because I love being by the water, and so I was like, if I can, I want to be by the water. That unfortunately was closed at the time. Then I kind of briefly looked at being by the water elsewhere outside of Waikato. But it just ended up being a little bit too much of a mission. And also, we inquired at a few places, but they had like minimum numbers, and we, because we had a small wedding, like under 50 people, typically we needed like 60 or 70 for venues, and so that, yeah, there was quite a bit of back and forth, and yeah, a few emails going around for finding a venue.
Where did you land on in the end?
We found a beautiful spot, Woodlands Estate in Whitikahu in Gordonton, which is in Waikato, and it is a beautiful garden estate. So they have the most gorgeous gardens. I think they have maybe like 3 or 4 on this property. It's rural, and we got married under these beautiful big oak trees, and it was naturally all lush and green and earth tones, and just really perfect for our vision and for the like the vibe we were going for, more relaxed, but it was still, yeah, really well maintained, and it is a wedding venue, super popular, like, yeah, very popular venue, so they're used to weddings are their thing, so yeah.
Yeah, such a beautiful spot there. And yeah, makes for the most gorgeous photos as well. But yeah, looks like it all came together so well.
Yeah.
You've mentioned a few things there, but yeah, did you have any other kind of really important elements, your sort of top priorities when you were planning for the day?
Yeah, our priorities was, I remember we came up, Julian and I came up with like 3 words. We wanted it to be that we wanted to be present and like relaxed as much as a wedding can be, and elegant. And so we always referred back to those. We actually had quite a few other words as well. I don't know why. Yeah, not 3. And fun. We wanted it to be fun. So just always going back to those components and reflecting on them. I also love decorating things and little trinkets and stuff like that. So a big component for me and my sister was, and I love secondhand shopping, so going to op shops and finding beautiful little vases and trinkets and decorations and things like that, and floral things, like dried floral arrangements and all of that kind of stuff, doing the more fun kind of decorative things as well, which was really, yeah, that was nice. And that's something that I started to do quite early on. It kind of became like a little bit of a hobby for like the year, collecting all of these things.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so cool. Makes it that much more personal as well. And I love what you said about the having 3 or 4 words or however many it is, just kind of these guiding principles that you keep coming back to. And yeah, that can be so helpful when there's so much decision making with weddings. So yeah, really
Yes.
great tip for people. And can you tell us a bit about what you wore, your wedding outfits, your dress? How was that process, finding it, getting it made? Yeah.
So my husband, Julian, he's Austrian, and he wore a traditional Austrian wear called a trachten, which is, oh, I'm gonna butcher it. Oh my gosh. No, oh no. So like a jacket, which is called a jacket, and then a vest, and the pants are leather. I'm not sure if his ones are deer leather. Yeah, pants. And so it's traditional Austrian wear with some socks and yes, some shoes. And he had 2 groomsmen, and they also were wearing tartan as well, which was really, really lovely. And for me, because wedding, I had no idea the cost of weddings, or like the cost of a wedding dress. Oh my goodness. I was like, holy cow. I had no idea before wedding planning. I always hear like wedding tax kind of thing, but I didn't think it was that much. So early on when I was looking at wedding dresses, I was looking at like smaller places like Shona Joy or Beck Bridge, who make beautiful wedding gowns, or more simple gowns or dresses that can be wedding dresses, looking at sites and places like that. Yeah, because they were just so expensive. But I did go and try on a few. I actually kind of did a few wedding try-ons at some wedding stores, spontaneously twice, and then once with my mum and sister. And I was going in with the frame of like, I'm just going to try things on so that I could maybe see to get something a little bit cheaper. At least I know what will look nice on my body, kind of thing. And it was like the third dress that I tried on, and it was like the dress. I had all of the feelings. I was like, my mum and my sister and the beautiful lady at Astra Bridal in Kirikiriroa D. She was so wonderful. We were like that. Like, it sounds cliche, but I was like, I never like expected to feel like it would be like the dress. It was like everything that I wanted. It was elegant and sleek, but still really fitting on my figure, and had detailing that I really like loved. So it was the dress, which was wonderful. And fortunately, my mum bought my wedding dress for me, so I didn't have to compromise on that dream, I guess. And then during the ceremony, I wore a traditional Māori cloak called a korowai, which was weaved by my great grandmother. So it's like a really big treasure in our whānau. And I wore that during our ceremony, and I also had pounamu jewellery that Julian and we had a first look, and we gave each other gifts as well. And so, yeah, I wore those as well.
Yeah, so cool to hear about that moment, because not everyone has the like say yes to the dress and just
Yeah,
that like feeling. So
yeah.
yeah, pretty incredible when that happens. And yeah, so good that you were able to get that. And yeah, did you so you had a bridal party as well? How was that process choosing them? Did you find that quite easy?
Yes, well, it was more about whether to have a bridal party or not. That was the more difficult thing. Like I mentioned, Julian had two groomsmen, and my sister's my best friend. She was my maid of honor, and I was umming and ahhing about just having my sister, because I ended up having six bridesmaids, including my sister, because I was like, at first we were planning on eloping, and then because we're first in our immediate whānau and our immediate family to get married, that our whānau were kind of like, have a wedding, and we're like, okay, cool, we'll have a wedding. And so kind of throughout the process we had to go back and forth with each other about like, should we do this? Like, should we make it like a bigger thing? Because we originally were just going to elope with our immediate whānau somewhere. And so that also was part of the process of like, should I just have a small like wedding party? Should we just keep it like a smaller? I decided to full send it. I was a bridesmaid for two of my close friends the year before, who were my bridesmaids as well. And I was like, I'm only planning on getting married once. I might as well, it'll be fun. It'll be a whole shebang. And I have zero regrets. It was just so much fun having them being a part of that experience with us. Yeah, and Julian had his childhood best friend from Austria, so that was really awesome that he was able to come, and his and another close friend as well.
So nice to just be able to include everyone you want. And yeah, they definitely kind of set the vibe on the day. Like you were spending most of it together. So yeah, have you girls around you?
Yeah, it was so beautiful because I had kind of someone from each part of my life, like my childhood best friend, my high school best friend, my university best friend, my like adult best friend. Like it was really lovely having all of those like components of life and yeah, together
So it
on the day.
represents every part of your journey in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Love that.
definitely.
So good. And you mentioned that you had quite a small guest list. How did you go with narrowing that down? Was that quite tricky?
It was I'm Maori and we have big whānau. We have big families. And actually my whānau in comparison to being a Maori whānau is quite small, but it's still big. And so it was really difficult to decide because we were originally going to elope, and weddings just get bigger and bigger, like every kind of step of the way, like with food, with the venue and decorations, and like you could just add so much on. And so that was a thing, but I always wanted to travel. Like I've always dreamed about traveling and having all of these wonderful overseas experiences. And so very early on, Juliana and I agreed we are saving and wanting to spend more money on our honeymoon on a big trip, because that is what not necessarily means more to us, but I've always dreamed about traveling where I haven't always dreamt about my wedding day. Not to say that it was less special, but that was more of a priority to save our putea, to save our money towards our travel and our big honeymoon. So we made the tough decision to, for me, just have my immediate whānau, and I had a few special cousins coming, and then close friends. And Julian had some of his whānau. He's Austrian. He has a very small whānau. He only has 6 cousins, where I have like 40. So we were really, really lucky to have his some whānau come from Austria as well, which was very, very special. And then yeah, close friends who have been with us through the journey. We did have an engagement party that I've could invite all of my whānau as well. So we did have an opportunity to celebrate that with them as well. But yeah, it was definitely tough. It was definitely tough, and I think quite controversial, because we just we typically will just invite everyone. Oh yeah, cool. My mum's bringing over my auntie, and then all of her kids who it's just all like whānau kind of thing. So it was definitely tough, but we stayed true to our other dream of wanting to be able to spend more on our travel, which was very important to us. And yeah, we had our engagement party where we were able to spend with a few more people. Yeah, and so we had less than 50 people, which was, I think, just like an ideal number. Just like in general, it was great because I got to naturally speak with everyone there, and it just happened naturally. I didn't feel pulled in any way. Yeah.
So nice. Really interesting to hear about your thought behind that. And it's such a like tough line to draw, especially when like your whole nature is just to be inclusive of everyone and you're always like around whānau and everything. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's like a lot of money to blow
it
on
was.
one day.
Oh my
So
God.
just
It was,
thinking about those future priorities and like, yeah, beyond what you want to do with your life, and travel's so
yes.
enriching as well. So yeah, I love that you did that.
Yeah, it was tough, but yeah, no regrets.
Yeah. And can you tell us a bit more about the big day, how it all went down, and yeah, any highlights or favorite moments?
Yes, it was, honestly, it was a magical day. It was quite a stressful wedding planning experience, but that all just like washed away during the day, which was wonderful. And we were able to just be present and spend time with our loved ones. I like a highlight of the day for me was getting ready. We got ready at our whare at our home. Um, Me with my bridal party, and my mum and my nephews came over as well. And it was just such a like perfect way for me to get ready. We were just, yeah, just chilling. Like it was just all my girls. One of my friends is a caterer, and she made us a delicious parakuihi, delicious breakfast, and we were just like chilling, rotating with like makeup and like doing hair, and it was just so, yeah, natural and fun. And we were playing music and we were dancing and we were reminiscing and we were slowly getting ready. And then the photographer came, and then we had those moments, and then just kind of leisurely went off to the venue. So that was just a really special moment that I didn't think would be so like would be a highlight. It was just wonderful. It was perfect. And Julian and I did a first look, which was again, it was special for us to just be present in that moment with each other before all of the big celebrations with everyone. So we were able to give our time just to each other in that moment. And our venue was like had little pockets of different gardens and sceneries and things like that. And it really, where we had our first look, we were like clothed under these big, beautiful oak trees, and like the sun was shining through the trees in the gardens, and it really felt like a little magical, our own little land, like magical wonderland in that time. And so that was also a highlight for us, for me. I don't know, it's kind of like the whole day was fun. um, and walking down the aisle and saying our vows to each other, and just being able to celebrate our love with the ones that we love, like we love, was just, I think, the whole purpose of it. And we also didn't expect to, Julian and I, we took some engagement photos, but aside from that, we hadn't taken like photos together, like in a photo shoot ever. And so we didn't expect to enjoy taking our photos as much as we did. And I think that is a huge, that all goes to our beautiful photographer Phoenix, and her husband, who were able to just really, we felt so comfortable and so empowered, and just like it didn't feel like two people were there kind of softly directing us, while we were like having our moments. So that was also another like surprise highlight, because it was, yeah, it was a really special moment, and something that again we were able to be present with just each other, because it's such a big day. It is a huge day. I remember thinking like we had just finished taking photos, and that was probably at around 4 or 5 before like dinner and first dance and all of that kind of stuff. And we were like, we've still got like the whole the whole rest of the like festivities to go. Yeah, and so that was really special. And my brother walked me down the aisle, and my other brother like was a signatory. Like there were just so many beautiful moments. A highlight for Julian that I know was our first dance. We did the Wiener Waltz, which is a traditional Austrian waltz that typically is performed during New Year's, like as a New Year's dance. And yeah, so that was our first dance, which was so much fun, but kind of nerve-wracking because we hadn't done as much practice as we would have liked. But it was cool. His Julian's dad and sister did a demonstration, and then so we did our first dance and kind of did like a few loops, and then afterwards everyone joined in, and it was just such a beautiful experience sharing that culture with my husband and his whānau, especially having them move to Aotearoa and being able to share a lot of my culture with them. I keep saying special, I keep saying beautiful, but I can't think of
What it
anything
is.
else.
Yeah.
But it was just such a special moment to share that with Julian and his whānau, and we had a lot of fun as well, and everyone else did, and were joining in and things like that. And then of course just being able to spend time with our loved ones. We unfortunately had some whānau loss 3 months after our wedding, and so that that made that time even more significant for us, that we were just able to soak in and spend that quality time with our loved ones. And because of our smaller number, I was able to connect and to spend time with everyone, and it happened so naturally and organically. It was beautiful.
Beautiful and special day. It's, yeah,
Yes,
honestly, the
beautiful and
best words
special.
for it. But yeah, so many special moments. Just like weaving each other's cultures into the whole thing, and yeah, just that quality time. I love the idea of doing a first look as well. It can really like help the whole timeline of the day just feel really smooth. You're not having to leave guests for so long, and then yeah, just having that moment together. It's really special because you don't often get those kind of moments alone on the wedding day. So you mentioned the planning being a little bit stressful. What did you kind of find the hardest part about the process? And yeah, is there anything you look back on and regret or would do a little bit differently?
It was, for me, it was difficult because I loaded up my workload. I've never been, I've never been so busy in my life. I was working full time, studying full time, working part time, and planning the wedding, all in 1 year, and that was not fun at all. I would not recommend, and I think that's what made wedding planning, because I had these other commitments. And I will preface, no one would have been able to stop me. No one would have been able to stop me from taking on so much because of, I mean, I had to work. It was my final year. I didn't want to push it out anymore, and working part-time, that was like my fun hobby, kind of passion project, which was podcasting. And so that kind of was like, yeah, there were reasons for the big workload. Because of that, wedding planning kind of ended up being a bit of a chore, being a bit of a to-do. Some things being a little bit rushed, more rushed than I would have liked, because of my workload. And I'm more of a bigger project kind of planning and facilitating person, as opposed to a more minor detail oriented kind of admin stuff, which I didn't realize was quite admin heavy. and just like a lot of things to remember and a lot of little components and people to follow up and things like that. And I have ADHD, so I'm just like putting all of
Bing
the
bong.
pieces together, like
Yeah.
like literally bing bong. Oh, I remember this part and this part, and then everything worked out. But I would say if you can reduce your workload so that you can focus on wedding planning and that be special. It was still special, but definitely more hectic than it could have been. We went into it not really knowing what was completely what wedding planning actually completely entailed. And so like we chose our wedding date 01/12/23. So the 1st of December, we chose that because we liked the number. We liked how it rolled off. 01/12/23. And we're like, that was pretty cool. Didn't know that that was peak of wedding season time. That was the start of it. And so the cost of things were bumped up because of that. And so it's like little things like that we didn't know about. Like everything worked out fine, but little things like that could have been helpful to know. And I think even like knowing that you don't have to sign your registry right after the ceremony, just like kind of little things like that that could have flowed a little bit better during the day. Yeah, but I found there are some quite tedious admin back and forth things that, yeah, I did find a little bit a little bit annoying to do.
Yeah, it's almost a full-time job planning a wedding, like depending how long your engagement is and then yeah, what it looks like.
It's a lot.
Definitely recommend getting like a planner or someone to help if you can, but not everyone can afford that. So,
Yes.
yeah,
I,
it's a
I
lot
so
to
wish
factor in.
it would have been worth it to do like a little bit, I don't know, more of the admin stuff. I would have happily paid someone a few hundred to like do a little bit more of the admin organizational things if you can, like even if that's like a online assistant or something like that.
I know a
Highly
few
recommend.
VAs that do that now. So if that's like something you hate or you just want to like, yeah,
Yeah,
outsource, great idea.
because there's also like there's the wedding, and then if you are going to have an engagement party, if you are going to have a bachelorette or like a wedding shower, and then like a honeymoon, like there is so much
It's a big
involved.
yeah.
It's huge. So yeah.
Crazy. And then, yeah, you working, studying, everything else on top. Insane. I'm
Hectic.
glad you got that honeymoon, which we will
Yeah.
talk about in a bit.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I know you're a co-host on the Girls That Invest Epic podcast. Everyone should have a listen to. So yes, have spoken a bit about money things, but yeah, if you're happy to talk to us a bit about that, did you guys have a set budget? Did you end up overspending? What was that whole process like?
We had a budget. We were really fortunate to receive quite a lot of whānau support for different things. So we had a budget of 15,000, and we went over it as you do.
It's not a lot these
And we
days.
I think it's not the inability to budget and to stay within a budget. It's, well, for us anyway, it was we didn't know the other added little things that was included in wedding planning. So we budgeted 15, we ended up spending around 17 to 18,000, and that also was, we were so fortunate to receive whānau support for different things like our attire, our kakahu, our kai catering, decorations, some like services as well, with whānau support. So yeah, we were really lucky in that sense. But yeah, even then with that, yeah, I think it definitely was more like 18,000 that we spent it got chewed up.
Yeah, even that is impressive. Here's some really huge numbers from everyone I chat to, and yeah, it's hard to not let it get out of control sometimes. But yeah, I love that. You kind of stuck with that, and yeah, obviously blessed to have that support as well.
Mm,
But then, yeah,
yeah.
focusing on, like you said, your honeymoon and saving for other things alongside that. So yeah, making that a priority.
Yeah, we spent more on our honeymoon, and that's how I wanted it to be because we were traveling. Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us a bit about that? Did you guys go straight away? And yeah, how was planning that as well?
That was fun. Planning that was fun. We were Waimarie lucky. We had a little mini moon straight after the wedding. So I think like 3 days after the wedding, we went down to Te Waipounamu to the South Island. We went to Queenstown for 4 days, and that was just a fun trip and like a fun like decompress, like relaxing holiday. That was my first time down south, so it was lovely, and it also was quite nostalgic for Julian, being from Austria and the big mountains, and the scenery down there is quite similar to Austria back home for him as well. So that was really awesome. So we had our little mini moon a few days after the wedding. And then 6 months after, so we went to Europe. We went for 6 weeks. We went to Austria, Switzerland, Italy, Croatia, and Hamburg.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and that was a beautiful like dream trip that we had 6 months after the wedding to go during summer in Europe. Yeah, and that was something that I've always dreamed about is traveling and all of that kind of stuff. So we really had a wonderful time, and it was special to to go to Julian's home. He considers Aotearoa home as well, but his other home, his first home, to meet his whānau who I haven't met and see where he grew up and all of the places that are meaningful for him. And also just experiencing his culture as well, because yeah, there's a huge cultural difference in the way they do things and operate as well, which was fun to experience and to be a part of and taste their kai, their food, and their way of life was really cool. And yeah, so we mixed it with like there's a difference between traveling and like vacationing. And we were definitely traveling for part of it and relaxing, like honeymooning for other parts of it, and adventuring and spending time with whānau. So yeah, it was a dream trip. It was so, yeah, wonderful.
Amazing. Sounds so good. It's so nice to have something to look forward to after the
Yes,
wedding as well. And yeah,
definitely.
lots of amazing memories from that. So yeah, I think I don't know, some people just focus so much on the wedding and kind of blow all their budget there. But yeah, factoring in what you're gonna do. Yeah, whether that's down the track as well. Did you have any sort of resources that you use during wedding planning? Any helpful websites or apps in terms of finding inspiration or vendors, stuff like that?
Yep, Pinterest, like that was the inspo. Pinterest was so helpful, but also kind of like sometimes not, because like there's Pinterest and you're like, oh my gosh, Pinterest, this is beautiful, this is wonderful. And then you go and look to try and recreate it, and you're like, okay, that's money. Like, that's not achievable
Money,
with
money.
like either the budget or the time or just the place. Like, it's a wonderful, wonderful resource, and it was fun putting boards and things like that together. We used a digital wedding website, Say I Do, and that was super helpful with like RSVPs. Yeah, it just had everything you needed. Julian's sister, she's engaged and they use that for their wedding website as well. And it was just so easy to navigate and had pretty styles, which like aligned with our vibe and our aesthetic. But those were kind of, yeah, the main ones. And like social media for tips, there's a lot of tips on like Instagram and TikTok. And I mean, my sister helps so much. She that's not like a resource that I can share, but leaning
Ask your
on,
friends and family, yeah.
yeah, I think leaning on your support that you have, and really like I had supportive bridesmaids who are like, what can I do? How can I help? And that kind of thing, and really leaning on your support system as well, because it's a lot. Yeah, but those were my main, yeah, Pinterest was main like inspo and aesthetic and vibe kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that. Such a goodie. And you've given a lot of amazing advice already, but yeah, is there anything else that you would say to a couple planning their wedding at the moment?
If you can, reduce your workload. Reduce your workload so that your wedding, or have it be your wedding, be the moment of the year, or 6 months leading up to it, so that you can really be present in planning it, in the sense of it not becoming like a chore or being tedious. And then also being able to be present. And if you do have celebrations beforehand, like your engagement party, a bridal shower, or like a hens or a bucks, that you can, yeah, just be present and not highly strung and stressed out. I think it's kind of a little bit inevitable organizing like and it's like it's an event. So yeah, just if you can reduce your workload, whatever that may be. It's not saying quit your job, but like if you do, if you have other commitments and things like that, if you can, just to bring a little bit more peace and enjoyment to the process for you, or get help. And also just like be present as much as possible during the day. Like it is a big day, and I've read about it, I watched videos, and people were saying it's a huge day, and it is. There are so many, if I can say, like so many events during the day that are really fun, but also can be draining. And so just really give yourself time to, if you can, rest before, and just really like look after yourself, so that you can be present in those moments, and just like not sweat the small stuff. Things will go wrong, things you won't like, things will happen. You have time outside of your wedding day to think about that, to reflect on that. There are definitely things that happened for us that were like, that stink that happened. Oh, that's a bummer. That kind of brought this down and things like that. But we didn't dwell on it at the time, and we're just like, oh, whatever. Yeah, so just really be present, enjoy yourself. It's a day to celebrate the love that you share with the people that you love. And it is a wonderful celebration of love. So just try and be present as much as possible.
Absolutely. Love that advice. So many good tips in there. And what is married life like now? Do you feel like you got any of the post wedding blues?
I didn't get post wedding blues.
Had that honeymoon to look forward to?
Yeah, yeah. Because we had our little mini moon, and then we had the honeymoon to kind of like look forward to. And I think after the honeymoon, there were post honeymoon blues for sure. Like I think a few days I was still jet lagged. I was like, I need to plan a trip or an adventure to like get me over this kind of thing. So like for me, yeah, had like something else big to look forward to. But we missed spending time with people who traveled and that kind of thing. But married life is fabulous. Like I didn't expect, because Julian and we'd been together for 4 years. We own a home together. We've lived together. We've experienced some big milestones together, like the highs and lows of life. Pretty much living a married life already, and there weren't any of the, like, how traditionally back in the day you would get married first and then you would buy a home or like live together, or that kind of thing. I didn't really expect that there would be much like change after being married, but there was something, like, it just was like, oh, like a back in the honeymoon stage for us, like back in the giddy, sweet, like rose tinted glasses, honeymoon love bubble for us, which was just like so beautiful, so beautiful and so fun, especially being together, for 4 years. So it was like nice to have that again, and just, yeah, being like, it's my husband, like, it's really sweet, and it's something that I didn't expect to be like, oh, it's my husband, like, I'm someone's wife, like, it's fun, and yeah, I guess it was just something that I didn't expect to feel, which was lovely.
Oh, I love that. It's such a good description of that time. I feel like a lot of people are like, nothing's going to change. We're just going to have this party and then that's that. But yeah, there's something, I don't know, something that feels different that everyone says. So
Yeah,
yeah, I love it.
little back in the honeymoon stage phase.
Yeah, I know you do a bit of work or creating content in the Hawara wellness kind of space, which I feel like has come through in a lot of your advice today as well, which is so cool. But yeah, I've kind of sprung this on you, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about that if you're happy to share.
Yeah, sure. So I'm passionate about haura, about well-being, and particularly sharing that through a te ao Māori, a Māori Indigenous lens. And I have a Instagram page and a TikTok page that I never use. I need to get on that train. Well-being with Maia, and yeah, that is just, I love connecting with people, and essentially it is my passion project to be able to support people to prioritize their hauora, to equip particularly wahine women with empowering them with their hauora, with their well-being, through whatever that looks like for them. Well-being is very broad, but it's also, I see a lot, particularly with wahine, with women, we give so much of ourselves to other people, to our loved ones, to our whānau, to our family, to our communities, to our jobs. We give so much outwards and naturally are caring, and often leave ourselves with nothing. And so my whāinga, my goal and intention is to share ways of supporting you to improve your hauora, improve your well-being in whatever capacity that you need, specifically through a holistic, a Indigenous, te ao Māori, a Māori worldview, and just, yeah, by sharing Indigenous mātauranga, Indigenous knowledge, sharing easy tips, going from my kete mātauranga, my knowledge of population health and my passion for Indigenous health, and then also my experience of being chronically burnt out and stressed as well, and just like going through all of those experiences, which I'm sure a lot of wahine, a lot of women, like, it is common. And so just sharing what I can to uplift our oranga, to uplift our well-being. So yeah, you can find me on Wellbeing with Maia.
Amazing. That's such incredible work that you do. So important. And yeah, I think especially like definitely everyone go and check out your content, connect with you. I feel like in the wedding planning phase, that's where a lot of weather stress and burnout can arise, as well as a lot of other phases in life. But
Yeah.
yeah, so important to think about that and look after yourself through the
Yes,
process. So yeah, we'll
definitely.
definitely link to everything and yeah, go and check her out alongside all your wedding inspo. Go and yeah, get
I hope
some
so.
well-being too. Amazing. It's been so lovely to chat to you today and hear all about your story and your wedding. Is there anything else you want to add as we wrap up?
Not particularly. I think just enjoy yourself on your wedding day. Do what works for you. It's your day. Yeah, there are a lot of things. So just yeah, if you can pick a few words to kind of be your to be your anchor. Because yeah, it's like a journey. It's a journey and enjoy yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, oh, I love that. So good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been lovely.